Does anybody have Zoom? Have they updated where it has all the new AI stuff on it?
Yeah.
I'm so excited and kind of nervous about it. I'm gonna see if the summary works, but I'm recording just in case. Doing my backup. All right, it's 9:03. We'll just let people, I'll share my screen. We'll just let people hop on as they need to because I want to make sure that we're cognizant of everybody's time. I appreciate you guys being here. And I'm just going to start and I want to um, thank thank a person on this fundraising committee who was nice enough to call me out a little bit and say, Bobby, I haven't heard anything from you in a while. How's the fundraising committee going? And that's on me, gang. I want to apologize. It's been a little busy and crazy with being down a staff person. So I haven't been as communicative as I would like to be or have been in the past. So it will be better moving forward. So there's no, just, it just happened. But nothing was missed. There just wasn't a lot going on as we were kind of just transitioning and starting a new strategic plan, winding down the year. So I just want to, again, we will do better. We, meaning the foundation and the staff there, we've just been busy and not much of an excuse, but just an apology on my end. So with that, I want to kick off and over to Brent so that he can give us our fabulous welcome, and then we'll get started.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for volunteering and staying engaged. And I'm going to pass it on to Bobby because you guys would rather listen to her and go through some of these slides, and we can wrap up here.
Yep.
I don't think we'll take that whole hour, but thank you guys for your time today.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Brent. All right, so we'll just hop on over to where we are in our fundraising. We're currently over 600,000 with 122% to goal as of October 31st. So woohoo, we are rocking and rolling. I will say that our annual goal is 803,000. So November and December is pretty heavily reliant on the fair share coming in when people start paying their dues invoices. So we'll need to watch that pretty closely. And then a big
Bobby,
chunk.
I'm not on my screen. I'm not seeing the PowerPoint.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I didn't share. Are you seeing me?
You're
I see
sharing
you.
your Zoom screen.
Ah, ha, 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 ha. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And then I will also call out that a big chunk of that end of the year was a value transfer from the league that was budgeted in at 170,000. That kind of offsets the SAS funds. I'm going to put everybody on mute real quick. I feel like I'm getting some feedback. That offsets some of the SAS funds that we pay out that comes over from the league. So it might look big, it'll wash out. So our end net number won't be affected, even if we don't hit this 803,000, because I don't think we're going to need that 170,000. All of that is just budgeted in. So we'll watch that closely and know that it will, end of the day, it'll be a wash. And so what we'll have in our net number should be right where we are on track. So percent to annual goal this year versus last year, we're at 77% to goal versus last year at 93% to goal at this time. Again, part of that is due to that budgeted value transfer in December. And then also last year, some of our events, our first time events, did a lot better than we anticipated. So we course corrected and budgeted a little bit more correctly this year for that. So we should be on track. And I don't think we're going to have any issues with our November and December fair share, which is kind of where we focus our fundraising this year, or at the end of the year, to kind of move forward. So that is where we are. I'm feeling very comfortable and set where we need to be. All right, and this kind of gives you just a little bit of a breakdown of kind of where we are and where we hit and misses for the end of the year. You can see we're trailing ahead for fair share. So that's always a great thing. Hopefully we can continue that trend and maybe get a little bit more. Signature events, we did talk about how we weren't going to make that goal at the last meeting. We anticipated that new event for SCUC instead of golf making a little bit more than it did. We were just super positive, but it's fine. We can make it up in some other areas. The only other biggest call out I see is, you can see in the credit union donations there, we have 37,000 versus our budgeted of 5. we ran an initiative with the Georgia Credit Union. So we were helping to pay for an ALICE report for United Ways. And so that is where we put the funding to get that report paid for. So the credit unions fundraised for it, we housed it. So we're going to pay that money out for the ALICE report funding. So that's why it just looks really high, like we had extra love from credit unions. Credit unions do love us. It was just kind of, that's where we thought was the best place to house it for now. So that's kind of where that big chunk came from. All right, any questions on that before I move on to fair share? I feel like I'm going fast. So I'm going too fast. You guys, please let me know. Okay. So kind of we dig down to fair share. We talk a lot about fair share, but we're doing really well. I'm just going to highlight that we're ahead where we are budget for November and December. So that puts us in a good place for our November and December, ahead of where we need to be. You can see we're kind of really doing very well this year. Funds raised throughout the 3 states. We're kind of getting to where we need to go in our goal. Alabama's doing really well. Georgia, we're kind of getting there a little bit. And then Florida, they will pop up at the end. They always like to give in December. It seems like kind of hit that last little bit before they end the year. So we're at 80% goal. Yes, Brett.
We were talking about strategic planning. You might have it on your agenda later, but we were talking about changing the name of that. But I thought the original letters that we were looking at called it something other than fair share.
Yeah, so the original letters that were sent out on the dues invoices, we just did a donation, we didn't call it fair share. So that is something that I was actually going to wait for the next one, but we can talk about it a little bit now and kind of give you guys a little heads up. During strategic planning, it was kind of brought up that some of the credit unions may not like that it's called fair share. That why are they having to give their fair share? What are they giving their fair share about? That maybe we need to relook at the campaign as a different name. So that's something we're going to think about, which since the dues statement already went out, we can't change it for this year. But next September, it's something we can look at adjusting. So I have a couple names that I will put out to everybody in our January meeting, and kind of we can think on that and work on that. But as far as go ahead.
Okay, and even on the dues statement,
Yeah.
It doesn't say fair share.
Yeah, I just keep the language. Yeah, I'm just keeping the language internally for now till we get used to not using it. And then also in the thank you letters we'll be sending out, I don't think we called it fair share. I just titled the letter fair share as well. We just referred to it as a donation for now.
Okay.
But yes. All right, and then our signature events, you can kind of see how each event rolled out. The bowl-a-thon, we just had November 2nd, so those numbers are still falling out. And then we can kind of talk a little bit through our golf tournament. The Kuhl's golf tournament still does really well for us. That one we're going to continue to do. CU's on Tap does okay. We're considering some changes to that. Raffle does fine. And we've also course corrected a little bit. I think we've always in the past been a little bit more optimistic on our events. And I think we can see the trend is that there's participation, but maybe we're a little too enthusiastic, thinking that everybody wants to come to all our events. So we've budgeted a little bit more conservatively this year based on the actual numbers, as opposed to kind of some more positive, well, we think everybody will come numbers. So those are our events. We're actually done with all our events for the year. And then we'll definitely be revitalizing all of these, except maybe CU's on Tap, or I'm in talks with Corporate One about potentially maybe doing something different, or some other ways to do that for next year. So any thoughts on events or any call outs you guys see or questions? You guys are a quiet group today. You must be ready for Thanksgiving. All right. So a little bit into the strategic dialogue, I do want to give you guys our 2024 fair share update. So the dues letters, where our little like block is, where it says check this to pay, that went out in September. And as of now, you saw those are collected in the number that you saw, but it was been 30,000 in payments from that so far. We will start, I forwarded you guys, and you probably haven't had time to look at them yet, but you will see the thank you letters that will go out to the donors that give based on, you know, if they're a first-time giver, a different letter versus if they continue to give, a more of a segmented strategy so that we can build that into the stewardship plan I'll be working and building and presenting to you guys in January. So we have that going out. And then we've also, thanks to Brent, crafted a letter for donors that haven't ever given to the foundation that I'm going to send out this week, that will kind of hopefully give them a little push to nudge, remind them that it's on their dues invoice and that's something that maybe they want to support us in. So we'll see how that goes and what we can get from those letters. And then I've also built the pipeline for fair share donations from that annual campaign and tracker for you guys. The biggest hurdle, I think, with that tracker is finding maybe a shared real-time system that can work for everybody. I have Teams, not all of your IT departments let you guys have access to Teams. Google Sheets, maybe. I will try to figure out some way that we can have real-time information on that for you guys. I don't know what it is yet, but it's something we have to figure out because I think that would be helpful for you all as you kind of are looking through. So maybe by the next meeting in January, if you guys wouldn't mind to take a look, as always, if there's anybody that you can reach out to, even if it's somebody that has given and you just want to send a quick thank you saying, hey, I saw, you know, I'm on the fundraising committee. I saw that you gave. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate it. And then ones that maybe haven't given by January, we can start some outreach efforts. If you're comfortable with that, I know we've talked at length about some people feel more comfortable with that. Some people don't. Your strengths can be used in other ways on the fundraising committee. So look through there. Keith, I feel like you've been on the committee and all of you have really, you've heard my spiel about helping out with the fair share. We'll get those newbies in. I see where they are. I'm going to come after them. So any questions on kind of that quick update for fair share? They just went out, so there really isn't much that we can update just yet. But you will see, let me see if I can just pull it up real quick on the, here, on the fair share pipeline. I just want to go through, can you guys see it? So I know it kind of seems a little cumbersome, but hopefully you can hide what you don't need. But here you can see I've kind of given them all a donor category and I've created a little key so you can see what the donor categories are. And I just wanted to call out that any credit union highlighted in yellow is one that the league has received their dues payment, but they didn't elect to support the foundation through that. So those might be some ones we focus on for follow-up, especially if they have given before but didn't this time. The ones that never given, we're going to come up with a different plan, but we just keep an eye out on the ones that maybe have given in the past but didn't this time, and we can work through figuring out what's going on with those. So any questions on the pipeline? No? All right. All right, and then I'm just going to give you a quick update, and Brent, feel free to chime in since you were at the strategic planning as well. So on September 21st, the SECUF board met and did a half-day strategic planning with really the focus was on what's the foundation's future in the next 3 to 5 years, you know, kind of where do we see the foundation moving forward and, you know, what do we see the future of them being? So really it was a really great strategic planning, and there was a lot of consensus, and it didn't really take long for everybody to come together and realize that the foundation needed a more focused mission and vision, and just a really defining what is our purpose, how do we want to be seen in the future. And really it came down to kind of 3 pillars. We want to be seen for our disaster relief efforts, so not only in relief but also in preparedness, that we want to focus on credit union staff development and helping credit unions with their community impact. So those were kind of the 3 focus areas that we decided on, and really a new vision. This is a sneak peek, gang. So the new vision will be that the foundation really should just be a philanthropic partner for all credit unions. Super easy. I can memorize that, no problem. I can say it, it's so easy. And then the mission is really to enrich credit unions and the lives of their employees. Straightforward, simple, really encompassing what we want to do moving forward. So from here, the next steps are we've built a more kind of robust goals and 3-year goal plan. and then an operational plan. And the goal plan will be at the board meeting in December, which they will vote and approve it or not and have some suggestions, and then we'll move forward with it. So I will share it with you at the January meeting, and kind of we can talk through how that really affects the fundraising committee and what we need to focus on. There are two things I want to call to your attention though. Part, having these three pillars, what's the foundation, what's the base of that? And that is sustainable funding and diverse revenue sources, which is an area that we've kind of lacked, that kind of diverse revenue source. I know I've shared with you the pie before. You can see that our fair share is a really big pie and our events are another big pie. But other than that, they're little slivers. They're like not even gonna fill you up after dinner from those little pie pieces. So we really need to kind of even out some of those pies and introduce some new funding avenues. So the Friends of the Foundation program, we want to implement that, and we probably will launch that in January. And that is kind of in the shortest way possible. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Friends of the Foundation program. Basically, a credit union can adopt or add the Southeastern Credit Union Foundation to their field of membership. Individuals can donate to become a member to the foundation. And if you are a partner with us and you're you've added us to the field of membership, they can then be, what's the word I'm looking for? They can then have access to your products and services. So it's a win-win for everybody. On our end, there are a few steps we have to do to get that all aligned. We're working with a consultant now to make sure for our credit unions that all our I's are dotted and all our T's are crossed and make it as easy for credit unions to do that. I know having the right language and everything you need to go through NCUA or your state chartered or your state regulators to add that. So we are working on that. That could be a really great revenue stream, plus an opportunity for credit unions to build up their membership as well. And then we are looking at exploring donor advised funds. So that is basically where we just are an administrator to credit unions that maybe don't want to start their own foundation, but still have their nonprofits and their community involvement that they want to give to. They can filter it through us, and they invest money with us. They use the funds that they invested to give out to wherever they want to give it out to. They have control over where the money goes. We just house it. We make money off the administration fee, but we are also in the loop of what's happening with credit unions and their communities, and also can help relieve that administrative and kind of 501c3 setup burden for credit unions that maybe don't need to go through all that process. So that's another revenue stream that we are going to be adding in 2024. Not much on your end as far as the fundraising committee goes. That will be more an administrative lift on the foundation's end. So that's really, we're going to be looking to hire that second position as quickly as possible. So all of that is kind of what came out of the strategic planning. And I think it was a great meeting. I think it was kind of gave us our marching orders for the next 3 years and kind of got us in a place where we felt like we weren't kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall anymore. And we are focused, in line, know what we want to do, know where we want to get there, and know the impact we want to have. So Brent, did I miss any? Do you feel like there was anything I missed from the strategic plan? Oh, am I frozen or is he frozen?
I think he's frozen.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
Uh-oh.
And what a terrible look.
You were frozen, Brent.
And he's muted. Or not very loud. Can you maybe turn your volume up?
He just. Oh, it's broken.
Use the chat, Brent.
He said, Bobby, you did really great. You didn't miss anything.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, it was the best strategic planning ever because you were there.
Before I forget, Bobby, I know you probably already are planning on this, but the Georgia Credit Union Executive Association will be in March. And if you want to come to that, I'll give you a few minutes to speak.
Okay.
And if you want, we can, since I work at a Methodist credit union, I don't mind having an offering plate. We'll just pass it around and tell people to put money in it.
You know what? Every dollar counts. Every dollar. Okay, let's see what Brent said. He said, nothing more for me. Not sure why. Yeah. All right, good. Well, if you think of something, just chat it in there, Brent. All right. And then so just kind of based off of that and what's happening, kind of what the foundation is focusing on towards the end of the year and getting us set up for success in 2024. So these were some things that I brought up at the last meeting, and I wanted to make sure I followed through with them for you guys. So I've worked on the prospect list for Fair Share. Next, I'll be working on the sponsor list. Just to kind of, I think the sponsor list is more for your knowledge. I don't really, unless you guys are really excited about going after vendors, I think we have a full team that can handle that internally. But, you know, if you guys know somebody and you want to do a little push, that's great. I have reviewed the fundraising from years past, kind of looked through and decided what I would suggest to the board. So we've proposed the fundraising goals and the budget. The board it's gone up through EMT and everything. So the next step is the board is going to be voting on that too in the December meeting. So I kept everything pretty conservative. The only one that's kind of, I wouldn't say is totally conservative, is Fair Share or whatever we're going to call it. I increased that by 10%. But I think with our kind of renewed focus, our new rebranch or not relaunch, but kind of rebranding we're going to be doing in 2024, we might see some uptick here is my hope. And then the events, kind of keeping them 3 to 5% of what we brought in this year. So still keeping it pretty conservative. So we're now until the end of the year, we'll be working on our fundraising timeline and marketing communication timeline. So this will help with what we're going to be doing next year and kind of our benchmarks and goals we need to hit in 2024. And then one of the biggest things and one of the biggest priorities for me, and I will definitely be coming to you guys for your input, so see some emails from me, is really that donor recognition program that we really need to finalize and fix up. We've kind of hit on little things that we've done throughout this year. We've talked through at the last meeting, some great ideas came out to that. So it's really just putting something final and definite in place that we need to follow through with and utilize. So that's kind of on my end, what I'll be working on from now till the end of the year. So that is strategic planning update. Any concerns, any thoughts, anything else, anybody? Any questions? I feel like I'm doing all the talking, gang. Last time it was great. You guys took it over.
I do have a question, not really a question, but just a thought. So when you were talking about being able to share across the board, like that spreadsheet, have you considered doing Smartsheet? Because you can share links via Smartsheet, but I don't know if everybody has access to that. The only thing with Smartsheet is that unless you have a license, you can't edit, but you can view. So I don't know if that's an option.
Okay.
And there's also another program called there's app-based or web-based called Asana, which you can share a lot of information in there too. And it's very collaborative. People can, make notes and share things back and forth, and you can, create a team in there. Just a couple of thoughts to be able to share that information.
Yeah, I'll look into all of those and kind of see what will work best for the group. Because I appreciate your time that you spent on this committee. And I don't expect that you're going to be into these sheets every day or do anything, but if I ask you to sign up your name, I don't want to have to email it to you, you email it back. I consolidate everybody's, just a waste of time. Plus, I think this would be more collaborative for everybody if we could just do it in real time. So Jessica, thank you for those. I'll look into Smartsheet and also into Asana, because I think that's a project management software anyway, and I think that might be good for the committee. So
it is. And I don't know, I'm not sure if it's a free option or if there's a cost associated.
Yeah.
I know obviously with Smartsheet to have licensing, there's a cost associated, but I know I use my group will use Asana as a project management tool, but I mean, Smartsheets also can be used for the same, but I know there's costs associated with both. I just can't tell you exactly what the pricing
that's fine. I think if there's a cost, I feel like it's better it's got to be minimal anyway, and we need it. Before we go, I just want to draw everybody's attention. So I put kind of on this page at the bottom, our tentative meeting schedule. I tried to look at the LSCU calendar to see what other things were happening based on also our board meetings. We need to do this meeting before the board meeting. So let me know via email or whatever, if any of these dates really don't work. And if I get like consensus from everybody that this date isn't going to work, we can look at another date. But I'll go ahead and send out some calendar invites for these dates just so you can hold them on your calendar. And then we will go from there. Oh, shoot. I will. Mike, I'll change you to hello. Shoot. Can't believe that. Did it. All right.
Change my name too.
Oh, gosh. Okay. I will. You guys catch me in everything, I will say.
Paying attention. We're paying attention.
Good. Don't think I'm not. I'm just running around. Okay, so that was the update. That's all we have going on. Brett, do you think you got your mic working?
That was
Is that
silent.
better?
I was just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah, we got you.
Okay,
Be
yeah,
back.
I had changed it was trying to use my iPhone for the mic, but I was just going to remind Bobby, if anybody on the committee is going to go to a chapter meeting or goes to chapter meetings on a regular basis, let us know. We can get some talking points for you. I'll be at our December 7th chapter meeting here in Jacksonville, and I'll be on the agenda to talk about the foundation, fair share reminder. Also, if there's something good that's coming out of the foundation. And one of the things that I think what we can do is try to heighten the awareness of the foundation at those chapter meetings. And typically they'll give us a few minutes on the agenda. So if you are going to, or somebody on your team is going to go to a chapter meeting and doesn't mind just saying, hey, just as a reminder, fair share contributions, and we can give talking points to you guys, and it can be 30 seconds, a minute. It's always a good reminder. Also, a lot of times there's a board member there, and then they'll ask their CEO, well, do we donate for that? And then kind of puts them on if they don't, then they have to say, no, we don't do that. So just increasing awareness. So just let Bobby know if you're going to be attending a chapter meeting, or if there's somebody on your team that you feel pretty comfortable with maybe talking about the fair share, or just at least the foundation and some of the good things that we do.
And Mike, I'll be at the Gulf Coast one on Thursday.
This week?
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
Bobby,
heading to Miami tonight, and then I'm going to be at yours.
Bobby, do you go to the one in Atlanta with Stephen Smith was the president, but now Margie is?
Yeah.
I think so. If you give them some talking points, I'm sure they'll.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of chapters, so the Tampa Bay chapter is large, very large, and so do we contact the affiliated credit unions also for fair share, or is that not?
Do you mean
When you
not
say unaffiliated?
No, the affiliate. So like in the Tampa Bay chapter, affiliated with the league are like DFCU and Lake Michigan. Are they part of the?
We typically, you mean like associate? We typically don't ask them in the dues letter, if that
Okay.
makes sense. I haven't ever contacted them directly. I guess I just assumed they were hands off. But I mean, I don't know why I assumed that. It was just, that's what I get for assuming things. But I've talked with Lake Michigan before. We've had some good ones. So if you feel like it's something I could do to reach out, I'd be happy to. I don't know why.
Bobby, you might touch base with Sam on that too. They might have a process from a LSEU.
Yeah.
Because we used to have the associate.
We still do. That's what.
Okay, that they pay a small amount of dues.
Yeah, and that's what I think Jessica's referring to. Internally, we call them associate credit union.
So it's associate, not affiliated. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're mixing up those. I'm mixing up those terms. But
and I think potentially, let me double check. And it could be with Samantha here. She might have a different view than maybe it was before. So definitely worth an ask.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
No, and we've reached out to them for disaster relief. They're always open to any of our grants, anything we have. So we might as well ask and see. It's a no until you ask, right? So I'm down. Good thought, Jessica. Thank you. All right. anything else for the good of the committee? Good of what we're doing? Okay. Well, I do appreciate you guys. I will be doing a better job of communicating, and I apologize again for that. We'll have more to communicate moving forward too. So let's get this done, and hopefully maybe not January, but the next meeting after that, I'll have another staff person to be able to introduce you to. Fingers crossed, gang. The description is getting approved, and we'll get somebody in here too. So we're not all running around crazy. So thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your week. Mike, I'll see you on Thursday. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Bobby.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Hello.
What's up, miss?
I was just calling because I was so upset. I don't even know why.
What's wrong?
It just freaks me out when I get called out to the office, and it's not even. I'm not even in trouble. It's just, it just freaked me out.
What'd you get called down to the office for?
I just had to move my car.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It made me so scared, and I didn't know what to do.
Did you move your car?
I have to walk all the way down there.
Was
I'm gonna
was
miss like. We're probably gonna miss like this whole lesson that we're learning, but it's so stupid.
so was somebody in your parking spot?
No, like, so they're like renovating like the fields and stuff, like